and welcome to Focus on Liberia. My name is Ansony Sieh, the host of our program, The Hour of Politics, and I am humbled to have in my presence as guest Presidential Aide Sekou Kalasco Damaro. He is my guest. If you are just joining us, we want to say welcome. Do us that usual favor, share the broadcast. Sekou is comfortably seated. We're going to have a discussion about his role as presidential aide to President George Manawia. And also, we will want to talk to him about the president's daily routine. We all know about presidents, but what do they do on a daily basis? We don't know the specifics. Someone who has the opportunity to be aide to the president is Sekou Kalasco, so he will help us get a clue of what the president's daily routines are, if I can put it that way. And so, welcome to the broadcast. At this time, I will welcome Mr. Sekou Kalasco Damaro. Sekou, welcome. It's good to have you.
Yeah, Mr. Sieh, it's also wonderful being on your platform. It's a platform that I've been following over the last few months. And I think basically, yes, you being somebody who comes from the media background, I'm not a journalist, but based on what I've done over the year and being a very strong admirer of what the media is doing in promoting the image of Liberia, I follow you, and I think you significantly doing well in doing what you're doing, and you inform people about what is happening back home. What are some of these informations? I agree with them or not, but basically, yes, you playing your part. And I think we should all embrace what the free world is doing. I mean, free world, what the media, the social media era has brought to the world. You don't have to be in Liberia to know what is happening here today. Anybody can remain in their home, anybody can remain in the street and inform you in the United States of America about what is unfolding. So basically, yes, thank you. And I must appreciate what you're doing for Mama Liberia.
Thank you, Sekou. It's good to have you. You know, we are all different, and I'm trying to be the one I am. But before we start the conversation, there are some members of CDC who have complained about me and says, "What's this, guys? You're talking this kind of way." Some of them think that I talk about the president with disdain, and all that. One of them said, "But this guy is from Southtown. The same place the president is from. But we don't talk about president. We are." So I don't know whether you get that kind of feeling too sometimes,
But I'm one person, especially from where I come from. And with my political orientation, being somebody who stood by George Weah over the years, and somebody who, believe that regardless of the criticism, regardless of how you think about the president, it still doesn't change on his way of doing things. So for me, I don't feel that way because I believe that George Weah will always be criticized. What are you? Sometimes your own parents, your own brothers, your sisters, some of them will not agree with you in everything you do. So what's about a president that is a president of a nation? People with divided opinion, people from different religions, people from different background. You just need. So basically, for me, I don't feel hurt about people that checkmate the government, because I think with some of the things you do, it gave us the opportunity to do the right thing. Because everybody should not be singing "Kumbaya," yeah, all is well, all is well. There will be people that will say, okay, this thing is not right. I think it should be done the way objectively. It's not. It should not be on the basis of any venom. It should not be on the basis of, oh, I don't like President Weah or I don't like Kalasco, so I will come out and just spew, innuendos. But it should be on the basis of a pure transformation. It should be on the basis of, what will affect the life of the Liberian people positively. So for me, I don't see you as somebody who, somebody that is disdain about George Weah. I see you as a man who has different opinion about governance, and you are expressing those opinions in the way that is best suiting your audience.
Thank you, Sekou. Again, it's good to have you. Let's get started here quickly. So, the man President Weah, how did you first meet him, and what got the relationship going over the years?
I've been asked, Mr. C, I've been asked this question on many occasions, not only in Liberia, but I've been asked based on the level of cordial relationship that existed between George Weah, who's happened to be the president at this stage, and myself since he became president. But I always say back and say, this is not just about today. As a young man growing up, and as a young man who, or that was a strong admirer of as a matter of fact, I was supposed to be playing professional football, but because I sustained a lot of injury, it did not allow me.
Sekou, did you play the game? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, I used to. I used to play soccer. When I was coming up, as a young man, I used to be a very, very good footballer. But I'm not playing
I'm
up
not
to.
interrupting you when it comes to football. We the Grand Crew people, we are the best, evident by Josh. We the
That one you can't argue. That one you can't argue it. That is undeniable. In as much as you produce world best, so we can't argue that. But I've over the years, as a young man growing up, President Weah myself come from the same community.
So you got attracted to him through the game or the community that
the community.
Okay,
the community. He used to live Gibraltar, and I was living in Viton. As a young man, he's way older than me. But as a young man who used to follow big guys, and I started following them. And Joe Nangbe, big brother, they call Marco Polo. Polo still live in Gibraltar, and they always used to take.
What year you remember?
Yeah, I'm talking about in the 80s.
In the 80s, okay.
Yeah, I'm talking about in the 80s.
How old were you then? Because you were born 1976.
I was born 1976. I was born 1976.
So 80, you were what, 4 years old?
No. From 76 to 1986, that 10 years old.
10 years,
and, okay. Yeah, 10 years, and at 11 years, 12 years, being somebody who was always moving about, so I was always with the big guys. And because of my love for the game, President Weah always used to admire me. Always used to say, okay, that is young man. I used to hold their football boot.
Use the word Peking. That's the word, the Peking. Use the word Peking.
Yeah, they Peking. Yeah, they Peking. Yeah, who they Peking? So I was always with them, not him specifically, but I was always with them. And everywhere they're going to play football game, I move with them. So we started growing our relationship. And the relationship got better. And when my sister, who happened to be President Weah's first child mother, she's my elderly sister. And through that connections, and we started becoming very strong. The first son today, Cham Weah, is my nephew because he had a child by my sister. So we grew.
You are actually family, given the relationship you just explaining now.
Exactly. And through my sister, through the connections, they were in the same school, Weston, and as God could have it, they had Cham Weah, and we grew very strong in the relationship. We started from there. It's not just
So what
because of
has been able to
politics.
sustain the relationship over the years? Because the reason I'm asking the question is you're not the only person we have met at a very early age. Others, he crossed paths with, but those people are not there. Uh, why will you say is responsible for this relationship, being sustained over the years?
I think because of my humble beginning, and as a young man that is very respectful to people, and
Mhm,
as a young man who believe in talking less and listening more, as a young man who is very confidential, and as a young man who who very supportive to whatever President Weah is doing.
mhm,
And I think he has grown to admire the kind of character that I bring forth. So that relationship, I know he, like you said, President Weah has had so many friends before.
mhm.
Some of those friends that he had before, some of them did not reach to this level today. But
Right.
for me, uh, to reach this level today and to have this opportunity, it means that I understood the dynamics of human relation, and that dynamics or that dynamism has brought me to this level today, is keeping me moving. So we are cool, and I respect President Weah a lot. Aside from he becoming president, what personally that he has done in my life, what personally that he has done in the life of millions of Liberians, outside of politics, has glued me to him today. Not only because this is something that we started in Liberia, but
Mhm.
I went to Congo DR, and as a young man that was striving to go to Europe. And President Weah met me in Congo DR as the spokesman for the Liberian community there. He saw me, he said, "Man, what are you doing in Congo?" I said, the war came and we all had to go in a separate way. And I'm in Congo, I want to make it. He said, "You got to go back to Liberia." And I met there. He gave me money to come back to Liberia, but I could not come to Liberia because at that time, my mind was really focused to go to Europe and make a better living condition for myself. So I could not come to Liberia. I
And
went to
did you go to that
Mali.
Europe?
No, I went to Mali. I went to
Mhm.
Mali, trying to use Libya or Algeria through the desert to go to Europe. And it
That
was it
that
was
was
kind of a,
risky, Sekou. I'm sure you heard stories of people, attempting to cross over, and they really met their untimely death.
but that's one of the reason why I hesitated a little bit, because when I
Mhm.
went to Mali after President Weah gave me the money in Congo, not only for me but Liberians that went there, and I got my share of money. I decided to go, but when I went to Mali, and listening to some of my friends, listening to some of the story that came from the desert, some of the people that were going, some of them died, some of them could not make it due to starvation and other things. So I stuck in Mali. Again, when President Weah came to Mali 2002 during the African Cup of Nations, I went to him. I said, I'm here as the spokesperson for the Liberian community. He said, everywhere you go now, you'll be spokesperson for Liberian community, Sekou. So you need to go back home. I gave you money from Congo to go back home. And yeah, I'm seeing you here again. Now
Imali.
I'm giving you money. I'm giving you money again to go back home. This time around, I really want you to go back to Liberia. What I said to myself, at that time was still fighting war. I've never experienced any civil war in Liberia. I was very young, small when I left from Liberia. As I got separated from my parents due to the civil crisis, I went to Sierra Leone. From Sierra Leone, and some I was doing. I was a car boy on somebody's car,
Mhm.
doing a car boy job there. As at that age, I left from there. I went to Guinea. I was still doing cardboard job. I went to Ivory Coast, working on people farm there for survival. I went, you just name it. All of those things I was doing just for survival. Imagine you being a very small child and separating from your parents. The only thing you could do at that time was to survive. And how could you survive? That survival came about me getting involved with farming for people, being cardboard and other stuff. So uh, I persevere and got focused enough to know that there is a
And
better tomorrow.
Sekou, that is an amazing a story there. You know, at that young age, going through, we all have our own stories. You know, my father is a fisherman, so at a very young age too, I was fishing and working. I also went to the Ivory Coast, where I continued to fishing to survive. And many Liberians listening to us to have their own individual stories. Excellent story there. But Joshua has been this good to you, as you have explained. He has been the big brother, and then I can say now like a father, and now he also a family. What happens between big brother and small brother? There are times that they will make you, angry. They will do something to you that will now make you happy. You say all of the good things, not necessarily all, but you say most of the good things. The president will do anything to you as a small brother to really get you mad. What, big brother? Why did you do that? Anything like that? He's not perfect.
That me can do things to make him mad, and to be honest,
So
Mr.
nothing
Sieh,
at all, nothing he said, nothing he did to get you
trust me,
angry.
I'm the one that is always doing something to make President Weah or George Weah mad. Trust me, I've never in my life interacted with somebody that is so magnanimous and so forgiving like George Weah. He's always willing to.
People say President Weah is hard to forgive. They need others that he has not been able to forgive to this day. So you might be one of the lucky ones, or that is not true.
Yeah, Mr. Sieh, I don't believe that is a fact, and I strongly believe that those are perceptions about George Weah.
Okay.
If President Weah was not somebody forgiving, he would not be the president of the Republic of Liberia today, because he's so forgiving. There are a lot of things that people have done to George Weah from the day he started playing soccer up to the time he became president. There are people that have said some of the worst thing about George Weah, even from playing soccer up to the time he became president. And some of these people, as we can start to name them, are the best bully of President Weah today. So I don't believe that what has been said about George Weah is the fact. It's not the fact that people say that George Weah is.
You a picture of perfection, Sekou. I mean, that's what I'm sensing here. Tell me that's not what you're trying to say here.
You say?
You are trying to paint a picture of perfection about President
Weah. I can't come to you here. I can't come to you here, Mr. Sieh, and say to you that George Weah is perfect. In as much that George Weah, that human being like you and myself, you can only attribute perfection to the Almighty God. So we all got our own lapses as human being, but notwithstanding, I believe that his level of magnanimity, what he brings to the table in terms of connecting to other people, is at the zenith. So. People will always interpret. People got their right to interpret on how they
so Sekou, if you were to criticize President Weah on one thing, he's not a perfect man. All right. If you were to criticize President Weah on one thing, what you think that would be? This is not about politics. Forget about politics. He, as a family man, as a big brother, as a father figure in your life, you can't find anything at all?
Well, if I was to criticize President Weah, I would not do it on focus on Liberia. If I was to criticize,
you are not getting in trouble.
If I was to criticize him based on my connections with him, I would not do it yet. Then what is the essence of me being connected to George Weah if I can enter in his bedroom, if I'm one of the only person that can enter in his bedroom, if I'm one of the only person that can sit with him and have conversation with him? Why would I want to say it? So for me, I believe
let me frame the question this way, Sekou. Was there ever anything in your relationship with him as your big brother, a father figure, and a family man that you felt that he could have done better?
Well, I can definitely lay my hands on anything that I believe that he could have done better or he's not doing now. I believe strongly that whatever President Weah has decided to do over the years, from the day of playing soccer up to the time he became president, he's been very perfect. Something they call perfecto. He's been very perfect. He's done it to the letter. So,
are you trying to prove your French speaking skills here using the word perfecto?
Is it?
Are you trying to prove your French speaking skills? I heard you use the word perfecto. Is it Spanish?
Yeah, I can do small of everything. So
Okay.
yeah, Mr. Sieh, it's about just attributing to the Joshua that I know, the man
Mhm,
that is today the president of the Republic of Liberia,
mhm.
and his level of uh, you know uh, commitment in especially in terms of friendship. Look at Joshua relationship over the years. Some of his friends, they got players. If you look at the whole Lone Star team in the 80s, bulk of the players that play for Josh Weah at that time, for Lone Star at that time, all of them walked through the corridor of Josh Weah house, either in France or in Cameroon or in Italy. That is the level of openness. That is the level of
But
accessibility.
at the same time, Sekou, some of the friends you're talking about never hesitated to criticize President We are on certain things that they were not satisfied with. The only person who is not prepared to do that because it's media calling to you, that's Sekou Kalasco, and I understand that. That is okay. What do you say to that?
And I know you're a religious person, you're a Christian, right? And
I believe in African spirituality. I was born a Catholic. I sang in the church. I did everything. But now, because I'm a man, I subscribe to African spiritualities. I know people listening say, "What is this guy talking
thank
about?" Yeah, go ahead.
thank you. And for me, I'm a Muslim.
Mhm,
I believe that uh, imagine Prophet Muhammad,
mhm,
a man that we believe in as one of God's prophet. He came,
mhm,
he brought the word of God,
mhm,
Jesus Christ, that people
mhm,
believe in. Jesus Christ has somebody that he mentored over the years, and that
mhm.
person said some of the worst thing about him. What's about a Josh Weah? Josh Weah, that human being, he got flesh and blood like you and myself. So there will be people, regardless of whatever he do, they will say some of the worst thing about him. But what are they saying? Does it define the kind of character that or the kind of man Joshua is? No, it's not the kind of way that they are saying. So yes, they will say some of the worst thing about him, but I strongly believe that some of these things that have been said about Joshua, it just a mere gossip or some venom against the man that came from the dungeon of poverty to the zenith of everything he did in his life.
So none of the criticism against him actually true, other than just veneer, if I can borrow your word that you're using.
Well, I wouldn't come here again today and say there are people who do not, or there are people who criticize Joshua, and some of these criticisms are not true. Like I said to you, Mr. Sieh, Joshua, the human being.
You think they might be true, except that they are unfair, or what?
Well, I believe that there are people who genuinely,
Mhm.
genuinely criticize Joshua, for the greater good of the country. There are people who genuinely criticize him for the greater good of the country. Not people who, there are people who also criticizing based on venom.
Thank you. Thank you. Folks, the hour of politics, Ansony Sieh, presidential is Sekou Kalasco Damaro. It's my guest. Sekou and myself share the same birth here. We will not share that with you. If you just comment in, please hit the share button. Let's continue with this face-to-face with Sekou. Sekou, so prior to President, we are coming to politics. You have had the opportunity to be with him so many times. Was there a time that he had expressed the thought of coming into politics to become a politician, to run for office, anything like that before he could enter?
Say no, no, no. I don't. Up to the time
Mm-hmm,
2004,
mm-hmm,
when Liberians,
mm-hmm,
when Liberians put themselves together
mm-hmm,
and say, this country, we have had so much, we
mm-hmm.
need to have somebody that will not only be president, we need to have somebody that will redefine the leadership of the country. Before 2004, there was nothing like Joshua wanting to be president, need a senator of uh, any country in Liberia. All he was thinking about is, bringing some sense of relief to the Liberian people, making Liberian people to understand that, he was that symbol of hope for the Liberian people during the Civil War. So he was just reaching out to the Liberian people. It was through these many general or his way of interacting with people that
Mhm.
Liberians, put themselves together and say, we will petition you to be the president of this country because we believe that with you being president of Liberia, you will redefine the leadership of this country. So, to your question, no, President Weah did not, prior to 2004, did
Mhm.
not think one day that he wanted to be president of the country. It was a decision purely from the Liberian people. It was a decision purely that originated from how people perceived him, this man that stood in the gap when people needed somebody to stand for them. So they believed that he being president, he will bring a lot to the table.
Yeah, that is true. President Weah actually represented hope and and an image of our country. He represented a bright side of our country during our dark days. That is something all Liberians agreed on. And the idea of people going to President Weah to say, hey, I think you have to run for office. It was more so of this idea that, well, many of our past leaders or political actors at the time were involved somewhere or the other with the war. And this time they wanted somebody with clean hands when it comes to politics and so on and so forth. I think that's what brought him to the fold. But I listened to you one other time. I don't know whether you misspoke or not. That President Weah was the one who was inspirational in forming the CDC, the political party. Correct me. Did you ever say that, or what were you trying to say at the time? So basically, the question is: did President Weah fund CDC, or CDC was funded and he was brought on board? What do you know?
What's it was not CDC first. It was Liberal National Congress. That name CDC came later.
Mhm.
There was a formation. There were a group of guys like the Samuel Twe,
Mhm.
like the you just name it. There were a lot of people
Mhm.
that came together, brilliant young men and women of
Mhm.
Liberia that came together and said,
Mhm.
okay, we need to have somebody. And that, like you rightly said, that person, when they check around, like the Kofi Woos
Mhm.
and the other guys today, they
Mhm.
came about and said, okay, let's select somebody like the Jerome Voidio and other guys today. They say let's select somebody to be the leader of that group we want to establish. And Joshua was selected to be the leader. So the first name that was given to the movement, because it did not come as a CDC first, the Congress for Democratic Change. It had different nomenclature before
Mhm.
becoming a CDC. So
Mhm.
it was Joshua who provided that initial name to the Congress for Democratic Change before later on it
That
started
name
being,
was suggested by Josh Weah.
of course, of
All right.
course,
All right.
yes.
Thank you. So, Sekou, let's come to your role, and thanks for, giving us your take there on the previous questions we asked, your relationship with President Weah before him becoming president. As presidential aide, I want to know what is the life of a
Somebody.
presidential aide. Talk to me. What is it all about? Being a presidential aide, what does it
It's a
involve?
it's a it's a it's a and it's a CA is a by the name,
Mhm.
is a very big job. Is a very big job, but my comportment, I think,
What makes it big, Sekou?
because you somebody who practically runs the errand of the president, somebody who is not sleeping until the president sleeps, somebody who wakes the president up every morning, somebody who uh, somebody that is involved, somebody that is serving as the ambassador for the office of the president, between he and the OSA world, other people that can't easily reach up to him, is a very big hell of a job. So it is big by the
Is it
need.
heavy for you, Sekou?
No, it's not. It's not. There's nothing heavy for any other person when you are determined and willing to conduct yourself in working in that direction. So there is nothing
So walk
big
me
about.
through, just walk me through a particular day. From let's say 5 a.m. when you wake up to the time the president goes to bed. Walk me through what are your activities that you would do in a particular day.
Well, the first thing I do in the morning, first I wake up and pray. That's the first thing I do. From prayer, drive straight to the president's house. Drive to the president's house and make sure that the president is up. Make sure that the president, is fully prepared for work, and make sure for that day, when the president is supposed to attend meetings, he's reminded about those meetings. When the president is supposed to place a phone call to a particular person, he's reminded about those phone calls. When the president is supposed to interact with specific particular time today. And
so that means you have full knowledge of the president's daily schedule. And what I'm hearing from you is you now look at the schedule and remind him of the activities of that day.
Of course, as the presidential aide, I strongly work with the Minister of States, Mr. Nathaniel McGay, because he's the chief of officer of the president,
right.
To have my part of small note to remind the president, because the minister do not directly go to the president's house every morning. I directly go to the president's house every morning. The minister go to the office. I directly go to the president's house every morning. Sometimes get him prepared for work. So it is my duty as the presidential aide to remind him about his daily activities, some of the things he's supposed to do on a daily basis. So that's my job, and I'm sure I'm doing that to the president's satisfaction.
And do you get a day off, Sekou?
No, I don't. And because of my relationship with the president, it has made it very difficult for me, Mr. Sieh. I don't have a day off. I've never, since the president was elected as the president of the Republic of Liberia, to say, okay, today I'm having a day off. I work every day on Sunday. I work from Monday to Sunday, even on holiday. I'm called upon by the president, because it's not only that I'm his aide. In our country, like we all know, people abuse relationship. People abuse trust. Over the years, I have managed as a young man to cement that relationship, to build that trust between Joshua and myself. So it has transcended the issue of my working with him. It has created a deep relationship between the both of us, to the extent where he wants me to be in his cycle at every given time, based on the level of confidentiality.
But Sekou, is it the president who decides what your roles should be, or are your roles defined by any law?
Mateo Ara directly is with the president. The president make that determination, say, today I want Kalasco to do this. It's not any law that is defined. It is directly with the president. Mateo Ara, he determines on what I do on a particular day, because I'm in his office. So it's not a law that is defined.
But there are regular routines.
Regular routine. So that regular routine has made it, I have to say, there is a law defined. And Mr. Sieh, there were people serving in this capacity before. But for us, we as young men, we try to take it to a new level. We try to make it look, because we
You're
were
taking it
elected.
to a friendship level. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Exactly. We're taking it to a new
Do you
level.
think that is a good thing, Sekou?
You say?
Do you think the friendship level, because you said it's more like a friendship, like, and that's just a new level that you are talking about. Do you think that is a good thing?
When you mean friendship you mean friendship with the president?
Yes.
Look, the president myself is beyond friendship, right? The
Okay.
president, between the president and myself, is beyond friendship. The president is my mentor. The president is my father. The president is somebody who I strongly believe in. So that believability between the president and myself has transcended just common friendship. It's way beyond just friendship.
Okay.
So we have taken it to a new level. We are now taking this position to serve as a true representation for those that can reach the president, we that are standing in the gap, we that the people, bulk of the young people look at as ambassador in the office of the president. So that's the level that we are taking this position to. We're not taking it, I have to say, this place, because you opportune today to have a job with the president. You are the president here. You one person who sees the president every day and every night. So you want to abuse that position. No, we don't want to do it in that way. We want to create a situation where tomorrow, anybody that is coming, anybody that want to serve in this position, will look back and say, we have one young man in this position before. This is a roadmap. It's a roadmap. Say, they have one young man in this position before. These are the things he was doing. And I think based on the good thing he was doing, we need to follow his example.
So are there limitations to what you can do either by law, either by the request of the president? Are there limitations to what you can
like
do?
I said, my TOR, Mr. Sieh, like I said, my TOR is directly with the president. As the special aide to the president of the Republic of Liberia, I cannot violate any law. There are laws that govern the office of the president. They are organic law of the country, the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia. I can do nothing that will contravene the law of the country. Everything that I'm doing, it is with the acquiescence of the president of the Republic of Liberia. So there is nothing absolutely that I can do to jeopardize the image of the president, or anything that I can do to violate the law of the Republic of Liberia, because anything that I'm doing, directly or indirectly, is definitely affecting the office of the president. So my work is squarely and purely determined by what the president wants me to do at a particular moment.
Have you been on every trip with the president, or there have been trips that you didn't have to attempt for some other reasons?
I've been with the president in everywhere since he was elected as the president of the Republic of Liberia. Everywhere the president goes, I've been with him. And I think it's an exclusive privilege that as a young man to have that level of opportunity with the commander-in-chief of the Republic of Liberia, for him to have that kind of explicit confidence in a young man like me, that everywhere he goes, he wants me to be there. And to answer your question, yes, I've been, since Joshua was elected president. Before he was elected the president of the Republic of Liberia, during the campaign, started traveling with President Weah for every campaign travel that he made outside of Liberia. And I think is there where everything started from, because I built that confidence, I built that relationship with him during the campaign period, and it got extended to he becoming the president of the country.
So Sekou, what keeps the president up at night?
What keeps the president up at night is, reading, listening to news. As a matter of fact, the president has a very big book that is in his house. The president think about in that book. When you open it, you see the president think about how the next day he will do something that will impact the life of the Liberian people. And he sit down in the night and plan when everybody gone. The president, like I said, I'm opportune to be with the president at time 1 a.m., 2 a.m. Based on our relationship. And when you with him, the only thing that the president talk about, the only thing that keeps the president up is what can I do tomorrow, that will bring relief to my people. So all of those things, reading his Bible and making sure that he believe in the things of God, listening to religious preaching, and thinking about tomorrow, what can he do for the people in Kwaduboni? What can he do for the people in Nimba County, and Doru? You just name it. So those are the things that come to the president's mind, and those are the things that keep the president up. The president, his time for sleep.
How late does he go to bed? How late does he go to bed often, and how early does he wake up often?
Look, the president is an early morning person. No matter the president go to bed 5 a.m., he will wake up by 6. No matter the time, and that is a routine
that
for
means
the president.
He will only get 1 hour sleep. Is that what I'm
hearing? It doesn't matter. The president, whether he go to bed 4 a.m. in the morning, whether the president go to bed 5 a.m. in the morning, he must wake up latest 6:30 in the morning. That's the routine for George Weah. So the president is strong enough to go to bed 5 a.m. in the morning and wake up 6:30 in the morning. He's strong enough to go to bed 4 a.m. in the morning and wake up 6:30 in the morning. So it doesn't matter his sleep time, right? What matters most is the president's energy level. He's so energetic to the extent where he don't need 7 hours sleep. He don't need 10 hours sleep. All he is normally involved with is every day having a sleepless moment, thinking about what next to do for the Liberian people.
The president is involved with a lot of things, Sekou. We see him at a church. Sometimes he grabs the microphone. I don't know what he can be doing that preaching, because sometimes I don't hear him quote a single Bible voice. But he picks up the microphone and he will speak. And then the next thing you know, the president is in studio. There's a single. Some, got him very big hit. Liar Man is my favorite. I think I did an analysis on Liar Man. I'm sure the president might have listened to that, and maybe he had laughed. The coronavirus song was another big one. I actually like that one. Even though I have my own criticism concerning that, but the product was good, and many people have. So what I'm asking you is, this is the president. He's playing football. He participated in the national county meet. He's involved in everything. How is he balancing the role of the presidency and these other side activities he's involved with, and then talking about his family as a father? How is he balancing that?
Well, the president is a motivator, right? The president is not a preacher, right? And some of the friends from George Weah, I want you to call them and ask them. The president came out from a grandmother that was very prayerful. She used to believe in praying. And as a matter of fact, in the president's house, George Weah has never left his house without going to the altar to pray, or he has never come back in his house without going to the altar to pray. The president is a motivator. Look, at time, so because the president hold the mark and speak in the church, it doesn't make the president a pastor. I'm a Muslim. At times, I lead prayer. Does it make me an imam? No, it doesn't make me an imam. Look, a lot of people see the president as that symbol of hope. When the president speaks, in front of the congregation and explain his life story and explain where he came from and explain to people, say, when I was selling bottle in Vietnam on the street, and today I'm the president of the Republic of Liberia, you too can be in similar situation. When I was being looked at in a very disdain manner, when nobody could respect me, but I persevere, I look up to God, and I show strength and courage to reach to the zenith of playing soccer, to the extent of becoming the world best, European best, African best. You too can be the same. So it's not preaching, it's motivating people. And when you to distinguish between the president has never gone to any center before where he was ordained as a pastor. No, the president built a church because he is a devoted Christian and he believes in doing things for God. So that church the president builds, or sometimes when the president is invited to places, he go there, and a lot of young people listen to the president and see him as that inspiration. So when when the president inspires people, it doesn't make him a preacher. He motivates people, and that motivation is some of the things that is driving some people. Doing some people leisure time.
We saw the president laying hands on, I think, a bishop who was being ordained sometime back. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And what was that? What was he trying to do?
Well, it was Bishop Gladys Johnson, a well-respected clergyman that I personally respect a lot. When he was being ordained as a bishop, there were bishops that came from Nigeria, and it is a routine everywhere. There was nothing unlawful. There was nothing unlawful about what the bishop from Nigeria to look. It is because
the President Weah has succeeded. In his career, we are told he earned millions, and during that time, he did not build a church now until he became president. You think people have reason to question that? It's a legitimate reason, because if he wanted to do all this when he had some money, he did not do it now until he became president. You think that people have reason to question that?
So by becoming president, does it stop anybody from building church? No.
I'm not sure it stops anybody, but people are saying,
no. Okay, Mr. Sieh. So if you did not do it, if President Weah did not do it when he was playing soccer, when he do it now, is there anything unlawful about it? No, there's nothing unlawful.
In the source of where the money is coming from.
Well, people will always caution whatever you do. Even now on this studio, like you said, sometimes when you say things, people can caution you. So it is left with people to caution you or think the way they want to think. But it is for the greater good. It is for the greater good of the Liberian people. For anybody to build a church, the day President Weah is no more, that church will be there. People will go to that church. People will worship to that church. People will go to that church and fellowship to the church. So it doesn't matter when President Weah build a church. What matters most is there is a church, and people go there to the church and worship to the church. That what matters most. So the time of building the church.
What also matters most is whether the Liberian people deserve to know where the money came from. You think that is something that matters too?
President Weah worked as a government official as the president of the Republic of Liberia. He earned a salary. He earned a
25% of which he gave away, right?
He did not give it away. That 25% today that is being placed into an extra account, that 25% today is used to is an addition in some of the public infrastructure development that is unfolding here today. That 25% is going there. So yes, President Weah has his salary. He can use that salary on how he wants to do it. So nobody is never established to say that the money President Weah is building the church with, or the money he's using to do whatever he wants to do, it can be established that that money that is stolen money. No, it's not established. If you believe as a Liberian that that money, president, we are using to build a church or build whatever he wants to build, if it is established by you through due diligence, and then you can hold him liable for it. But until then, President Weah is the president, and he's entitled to build a church, and he's been paid. He's been paid duly by his salary, and that salary, it depends on how he wants to utilize his salary.
Thank you. Let's talk about criticism for him as president, and not this time as a Liberian citizen before politics and all that. Let's talk about criticism against President Weah as president. Will you say, first of all, let me hear from you. How does President Weah handle criticisms against him as president of the Republic of Liberia? Does he actually get mad sometimes? Why are these people saying this about me? And how does he react to criticism actually?
Mr. Sieh, I hope one day, you will have the opportunity, like I told the president now, the president is listening to this show. And I hope one day you will have the opportunity, so you will sit one-on-one with
the opportunity I want right now is for President Weah to sit with me for an interview. He's from Southern, so we can talk.
So I'm saying,
I'm looking for, but go ahead.
I'm saying, like I said, I never did anything without the acquiescence of the president. Now, as I speak to you, he's listening to this show. So I will let you one day. You will have the opportunity. You will sit with him. You will understand the kind of person this George Weah man is. Look, he have always said to me, he said, Kalasco, if criticism could stop people from succeeding, then today I'm not the president of the Republic of Liberia. If criticism could stop people from succeeding, but today I could not have won the world best title.
That is a true statement.
People criticize me. They say the worst about me. Even before becoming president, even as the president of the Republic of Liberia today, remember, Mr. Sieh, George Weah is one of the most criticized presidents today since the foundation of this country. And I don't hold people responsible. I don't hold people responsible. It's because of the social media today that is created, and the proliferations of the social media where anybody can just sit down home and say something about him. So it's not something. So he says to me every day, he said, Kalasco, look, at the end of the day, what I will be judged by.
You are suggesting to me that criticism tend to motivate President Weah to do better. Other than
exactly. Look,
is that what I'm
exactly? There have been, you see, and one of the reasons why you see I've always been close to him is the fact that whenever I'm doing, like I was coming on the show today, I told him, I say, okay, I'm going on a platform today, and these are what we're going to talk about, and he wholeheartedly embraced it. He knows very well that your platform at times is being used. There are people who critique his government.
Criticize the president. Don't hesitate. Exactly. I criticize the president.
Exactly. So he knows that very well because my phone is a 247. I'm always on different social media platform, listening to some of the things that are being said about the government. Some of them are right, some of them are wrong, and we use some of those things for proper guidance. So criticism has been something that have motivated George Weah. He believed that when people criticize him, even though there are people who criticize him based on some personal situation, but for the general good of the public, for the general good of the country, when you criticize George Weah, he holds it in high esteem, and he learned from this criticism and moved forward in the interest of the Liberian people. So the issue of criticizing him and say, okay, because I will criticize him, I will say some derogatory, some derogatory thing has been said about the president, and he listened to some of them at times. He just laugh and move on. So at times, we that are following him, at times we feel agitated about it. But he said, you know, you get a long time to be agitated, because if you never wanted people to say something about me.
Sekou, you always saying we inside. Where you took that from, by the way?
Okay, we inside came from the backdrop of there are people who do not see anything good about George Weah. I mean, whatever George Weah did, they will criticize it. Whether it's in the interest of the people, whether it's good, whether it bringing food on people's table, they say, no, it's not good. So I sat down for long and said, okay, since you do not see anything wrong about right about George Weah, we too do not see anything wrong about President Weah. So basically, it equal to we inside. And that's the that's a point where that whole we inside business came from. There, because there are people, whatever the situation is, Mr. Sieh, they don't see it. I tell you that, yeah, when there are good things, you say, right? When there are bad things, you say, hey, because that's the reason that what we talk about. We say criticism or to criticize constructively. But if you just wake up, you against everything that George Weah is doing, then it means that you are very illogical about everything. Then that means there's no need to give you any credence. So on the issue of criticism, President Weah has embraced criticism. He understands very well that there will be people that will criticize him. Like I said to you, he is a religious person. He believes in the Bible. He reads the Bible every day. He knows that Jesus Christ, that people who are at a level of equipping to God, there are people who criticize him. There are people who do not believe that Jesus Christ did anything for mankind. So they will criticize him. What's about a George Weah who have a flesh and blood, who contested against opposition political party and massively flocked? So these people are here, they are around, they will not see anything about George Weah, they will criticize him. So those criticism against George Weah is something that is overly motivating him to leave a mark that tomorrow he will not be judged on what the people criticize him about. He will be judged upon what he has done to transform the OA situation our country is faced with.
Thank you. Folks, you are watching The Hour of Politics. I'm Ansony Sieh. My guest is Sekou Kalasco Damaro, presidential aide to President George Weah. And this is a face-to-face with him. If you have been looking for hardcore politics today is not the day. The plan for the discussion with Sekou is for him to tell us his relationship with President Weah, his role as presidential aide, and President Weah's daily routine. When it comes to the politics of today, the issue of corruption, the issue of projects, development, officials of government behavior, legislature, hey, count me in, you know me, I don't hide. But this is more about his relationship with President Weah, his role as presidential aide, and President Weah, the man he knows. So it is not your hardcore politics, because I'm sure some people were expecting me to bring up all of the criticism about road form, why the President Weah didn't fire this person and all that. That is not for that today. You know, I gave that to you, and time will come for us to do that. Sekou was saying maybe the president will sit with me and we can talk about the whole issue of declaration of assets and all that. These are things I have interest in. But Sekou, time is fast spent. Let me get your take. You are close to President Weah. I believe every leader must have a vision. And I've heard you talk about President Weah having a vision. What is President Weah's vision? What kind of legacy does he want to leave behind as Liberia's president?
Mr. Sieh, thank you. And like I always say, you know, President Weah is a legend. He's a legend because he has exemplified that legendary status for a very long period of time. And President Weah wants to leave a legacy, that legacy that tomorrow you can sit back and say, we had a president here before, a president that was so demonized by the elite group of people, a president that those elite group of people did not believe in. But today, you have road connecting from here to Lufa County. Today, you have a road from ELWA to RRA, a road that was built in the 40s, since World War II. Today, you have the entire Southeast connected. Today, you have the University of Liberia that is free of charge. Today, you have children that are attending school or taking WAEC or WAS without paying a dime. Today, you have hospital, well decent and modern hospital built in all parts of Liberia. Today, you have parks, amusement center, recreational center that is built in all parts of Liberia. Today, our country is not to the level of America, Paris, Ivory Coast, and other places, but compared to where we came from, you have a country where, every Liberian can wake up and have a dream. Say tomorrow, based on what this president has done in terms of transforming the infrastructure development of our country, today we can say, this is what George we are there. Look, let me say something to you. Today, and some of the largest critics you can find ever, some of the biggest or the largest noise maker you can see in Liberia today are the guys that were here 12 years ago. I mean, the Unity Party guys, they were here 12 years ago. Those guys that were making 25,000, 20,000 every month in Liberia, while the University of Liberia was in a dilapidated condition. Those guys that were here, that were making 20,000, 15,000 every month, and gas slip and scratch card were remaining in their pocket and get expired, while our mothers were selling in the street. Those guys that were here, that were young people, could not be, giving that sense of hope, are the largest noise maker today from the Unity Party. Those guys that were here, that established themselves as elite group of people, those are the largest noise maker today. But today, you have a George Weah. That is the legacy. That's George Weah. Somebody, a Mamesi Kaba today is a minister. Today, a Abu Bakar Ba, a Idris Belete, a Musa Kone, a Jefferson Koji is a mayor of Monrovia. Those are the young people, those are the legacy that Joshua is creating in our country as compared to in the past. When Joshua was elected as the president of the Republic of Liberia, he said, I will break the presidency. I will demystify the leadership of the country. It will not be a bugu meeting anymore. That's the reason why today you see Joshua is playing soccer with the children. He's playing basketball with the children. He's playing tennis with the children. He goes into community. He goes to Lapa Bido in our local palang, in the Kobo shop, and sit with people and eat Kobo with them. Because why? He want to bridge the gap between the people and the office of the president or the presidency as compared to the past. Look, we're not strangers here, right? We're not strangers. We have billions of dollars walking through the corridor of this country, billions of dollars walking through the corridor of this country. The JFK were being referred to as just for killing. Today, go to the JFK. All of the things that have been brought to the JFK today are first of a kind. Josh Weah has built more road in 4 years than any other previous government. More roads in this country than any other previous government. That is the legacy that Josh Weah.
You think that is accurate? That President Weah has built more roads than any other government?
Look, let me restate what I said. Let me restate what I said?
Please.
Right? Now, I say in 4 years.
Okay.
You can compare 12 years and 4 years. Josh Weah has built more roads in 4 years than any other government. I'm not talking about staying in office for 12 years, for 10 years, for 27 years.
Apparently, he took over a stable country.
Huh?
Compared to the previous administration.
But Mr. Sieh, you are an enlightened person. For you to say he took over a stable country, I know you play your role as a journalist, Well, you go back to the speech of President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Go back and listen to Vice President Joseph Nima Boakai. He said, we squander opportunity. It's not me saying it.
So
it's
the country was not stable because he said they squander opportunities?
Even President Sirleaf, we were on a downward trend when we took over. It was not only because of Liberia, it was a global situation. We took over a country where there were a massive international drawdown. There was no longer oil here. UN with they were going back.
The country was stable then because we didn't have soldiers anymore. We had a stable country.
When you talk about stability, yeah, okay. Maybe you're talking from the sense where we're not fighting war. Yes, we were not fighting war. We were stable as a nation because there were peace. The reason why there were peace, because you had a George Weah as an opposition leader that said, okay, we will not revert to the old days when you lost election or when you cheated during the election, you will go to Butu or complain. No, we will not do that. We will wait for the democratic process and we will transition from this democratic process.
I was trying for us to stay away from the politics, Kalasco, but you are going to the politics and you might be getting some questions here that might bite. You want to do that?
Mr. Sieh, I'm open to political discussion.
All right. I didn't intend this to be a political discussion. That is what the nature of.
But everything you ask, Mr. Sieh, everything you ask a political question. You talk about.
I don't see it that way. If you think they are political, well, then that is. I mean, I would not take it that way. But that's how you see it, and it's okay. So talking about political, we will arrange one so that we can talk about the politics of the day. But let us
most definitely, Mr. Sieh, I'm prepared and I'm fully open. As we know, we are going to 2017. I mean, the 2023 elections. We are going to the elections. It is about time we come out this kind of platform and talk about what this government and President Weah is doing. And some of us, we are for the capacity because we all for the
understand. For that, Sekou?
Look, there's nothing that can drive my preparation as compared to you asking me about George Weah activity. I'm always prepared to talk about the city. I've never supported any political party before. I've been 1997, as a matter of fact, I supported ACOP. And from that time to today, the only political party that I have known is the CDC. So I believe strongly in George Weah, and I strongly believe in what George Weah is doing. And what is irritating enough is the fact that you have a group of people that squander opportunity. They squander opportunity.
I want us to stay away from the politics. We'll do that another time. Let me ask you this question.
Mr. Sieh, I will still talk about squandering opportunity because some of the largest noise maker, of this regime are the guy from the Unity Party. I mean, what a shameless attitude towards not speaking fact. They are very, for me, I always say it is very shameless, for you to come.
Let me ask my final question. We will make arrangement, for you to come another time for the hardcore politics. You've been so close to power now. At the highest level, you are the one who works in the president room. You run all the errands according to you. Some errands sometimes that can be about ice cream and all that, right? So, but I'll leave that. But my final question is, giving
you see the kind of thing that you can be talking
of coming so close to power at the level of the presidency, seeing it all, have you developed any ambition, Sekou, or you still thinking about it?
Well, the issue of politics, like President Weah had taught me very well, the issue of developing ambition should come from the people. Every human being by nature, we are all politicians, right? By nature, we are all politicians.
I agree.
And that dictates, for me, I believe that when the people decide, like I said, since President Weah appointed me in his office as his special aide, I have managed to establish a very strong base based on my interaction with my people. I come from Magibie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some of the connections that I've made with friends, it's not only to lick ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
My people from Magibie are beneficiary of some of the connections that are made with friends.
Mm-hmm.
The hospital in Magibie, and giving young people the opportunity to go to school from a personal level through friends that I have been connected with.
So politically, you're just putting a little bit on top of the water.
What I'm doing at the moment is to give back to my people. Give back to my people. When that determination, when the time comes for the people to make that determination, I will say, okay, we want Kalasco or Sekou Kalasco Damaro Jumande. I'm the great grandson of Massa Kanka Musa. I'm a warrior, so I don't hold back.
And I am the great grandson of the legendary Joa Nimle. Has President, we have talked to you about the legendary Joa Nimle.
Yes, he always talk about, even when we went to Sastan, we talking about the Sastan War. Went to the Masan Klebe, the
beach side there. You on the kingdom.
I went there and I saw some of the they told me about the place. So that's the reason why I took upon myself, to cross the water in the kingdom to go and see the place. And there are some historical sites in Grand Cru. But overall, on the issue of any personal ambition, my greater goal at the moment is to make sure that Joshua is elected the president in 2023, which I'm strongly convicted about. The issue of Joshua not winning elections, I always say this to people. The only person that will defeat Joshua in this election is Joshua himself, right? And I strongly believe that with what we are witnessing within the opposition camp, Joseph Boakai is very incapacitated to defeat Joshua in any elections. He doesn't have the capacity, and I don't see why anywhere many Liberian we talk about supporting a almost practically 80-year-old man in this new dispensation, where bulk of the population in our country are young people.
America did it with Trump. He was
because America did it
with Joe Biden. He was in his
because America did it. Because America did it, Mr. Sieh, it doesn't mean that Liberia must do it. No, if you look at somebody who is practically surviving on some machine, for help.
You are getting too political. I told you I don't want us to go there. We'll have a day for that. So please conclude with a question whether you are nursing any political ambition.
Mr. Sieh, sometimes, some of these opportunities when it comes, it's good to talk about some of these things. Your platform is a very big platform, right?
Our platform is big. Our platform is the #1 respected platform, and I can say that without any hesitation. I might be Trump, but that is it. We don't buy views like others do, but we look at our numbers, our Facebook numbers, and our YouTube number, and we are the ones that get the calls from the big shots that you guys are doing well. Even from your own office, people call and say, "Hey, you guys doing well," but Ansony got there, and the man away can talk about, President, we don't like it. Some people don't like that, but that's how I am. I want to push this guy and put some fire on his back so he can wake up, because he's the grandson of the legendary Joa Nimle. We don't blink. We are fighters. But go ahead.
And Ansony, and like I said, Mr. Sieh, I don't hold you responsible. Trust me. President, we don't hold you responsible for what you are doing. I don't hold you responsible for what you're doing. If I had any, issue with you, I won't come on your platform. I've received a lot of offer from different platforms, to appear. And thanks to a very good friends, somebody that I respect. He's not only a friend, Robert Gagwa, Robert, and to show you that we don't hold things against people that criticize the government, especially when it is constructive. Robert is one person that has never shied away from expressing his feelings about the government. He has said that in an open, he has said that to me in secret. But when it is appropriate, he also go about and say, yes, it is appropriate. That's what we're talking about. Now you're talking about the clothes the president wear. Now you're talking about the shoes the president wear. Now you're talking about the food people eat. Now you're talking about what kind of clothes these people are wearing rather. That's not what we call criticism. That is absolute, uh, unnecessary way of looking at things. So we believe in people that criticize constructively, like Robert, like you criticize George Weah. Yes, it is your right as a Liberian and somebody who has a platform to also criticize George Weah. But should you be talking about George Weah, the clothes he wear, or why is he walking this way? Then that is a situation that we must all condemn to the 40th. If somebody come and just from the blue sky start to abuse the president, if somebody from the blue sky, and without issues, just come and say, okay, you being derogatory, because remember, 12 years from now, Joshua will not be the president of the Republic of Liberia. You have different president. So when different president come there, so other people will be abusing the president more.
I thought Comrade West said, Joshua will rule for life. He said that. I have the tip to that. Was he just killed?
Well, President, what he said that, based on Mr. Twe, Samuel Twe, the finance minister, conviction about things. Because remember, Minister Twe run the fiscal affair of the country. He know that, yeah, this is where we came from and this is where we are going based on all of the projections from our international partners. So he has the right to see George Weah the way, like you that, yeah, and you can caution George Weah. So people will be cautioning you on how you see George Weah. It's Samuel 12 right as a Liberian to say, okay, George Weah will rule forever. Like me, I say after 12 years, because I believe strongly that George Weah will be elected in the next elections. So I strongly believe that. So that's the situation we find ourselves in, Mr. Sieh. And I'm open and I'm glad that we have established the first connections to your platform through my dear, very good brother, Robert. Robert is not only a friend, he's a brother. And today I'm here because of the invitation Robert extended to me to come on your platform and talk about some of these situations that are affecting or that we are experiencing in the office of the president. I think it's a good thing, and I respect Robert highly. And through these connections, I think we can move forward. And whatever you find necessary, whenever you find necessary that you think that I deserve a response from, especially surrounding the office of the president and by extension the government, please do not hesitate, because I'm apologetic. Oh, let me call you back. Sorry. I am a very
unapologetic. You meant to say, right? You're trying to say unapologetic.
Yeah, exactly.
Supporter.
I'm very unapologetic about what I believe in about George Weah. I'm very unapologetic about what I believe in about George Weah and the CDC government. So I remain very convicted about anything I'm doing about George Weah. So do not hesitate, please, Mr. Sieh, to get in touch with me at any given time when I'm available. Trust me, I will come, because it is our responsibility, as George Weah confidant, to come and talk about or demystify some of the lies that is being propagated against his person, and we will not hesitate to erect the necessary checkpoint when it is appropriate to do so.
Sekou, thank you so very much for honoring our invitation and taking our questions. Surely I will get back to you so that we can talk some, national politics, especially the accomplishment of CDC and how you as a party have been steering the affairs of our nation. We will talk about all the 9 years of governance. We will definitely reach out to you. Thank you, and thank you for coming.
Well, thank you, Mr. Sieh, and thank you so much for also affording me the opportunity to come on your platform. When Robert got in touch with me, I said, yeah, that man ain't going to give me tough time over there again.
Yeah.
But again,
that's why I didn't give you a tough time today.
Yeah, but I'm prepared. I'm prepared for whatever, because you got to give me tough time to understand what is unfolding. And I think it is our responsibility. Whatever we're doing, we now officially the spokesperson of the government. The government has its spokesperson. The office of the president has the spokesperson also. Mr. Solo Kegwe is the spokesperson. Is the press secretary Smith Toby. They are also here. But whatever we're doing, we are coordinating, and we are using our social media platform. For instance, I got 200,000 people that follow me on Facebook, and I'm using my platform to market Liberia and market the president. So there is nothing wrong with coordinating with the guys in talking about the government and President Weah. So we are open. Let me say a very big thank you to my brother Robert for being the mediator, for me coming on your platform today. We already established this contact now, and I'm sure we will go a long way.
Certainly, we will do our best to keep in touch, because all we do as a media institution is to talk to you who are the political actors, ask the questions, and you provide the answers, and we hold you accountable to serve our country well. That is what we do and nothing else. And that involves you, the president. And that is why my invitation has been openly sent to the president through you. I want to have the opportunity to talk to the president, to interview the president. I will appreciate that. Please convey my message, Sekou.
Thank you. I would definitely do. And like I said, he's listening. Definitely. And the president will get your message. And when it is appropriate, when he deems it necessary to sit one-on-one with you, trust me, we will definitely start the ball rolling, because as a Liberian, and to the thousands of Liberians that are currently listening or monitor your platform, it is their right to know who George Weah is and what is he doing, to make Liberia a better place for every one of us. So we'll definitely do that.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Sekou. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
So, folks, this is how we will come to the end of this face-to-face conversation with Sekou Kalasco Damaro, presidential aide to President George Weah. As always, the son, we are all Liberians. We close the broadcast. Until I catch you again another time, I'm Ansony Sieh from us here at Focus on Liberia, saying to you, we love you all, and bye-bye.
We are Liberians.